as a board, you asked us to present options to make the budget work. Option one was to raise taxes and take advantage of the exceptions, which we have applied for. We don't know if we would be approved, but if you did the tax increase, it went above with the exceptions. There it is, option one. We would not touch programs. Option two, if you don't want to go above the index, if you want to go to the index, we are looking at 2 programs that we would have to cut. We presented the information on the alt-ed and the Montessori program. That would leave us about $188,000. We would probably be able to make that work. Third option, you asked us to present an option with no tax increase. We would need a couple more meetings to discuss how we would make that work. So.
Mr. Alveo, you had a question?
Yes. I believe at the county meeting, you were going to present either today or at the board meeting the breakdown of the closing of both Ridgefield and Vernondale. That's one issue.
I thought I did present that. I presented that at the last meeting.
Right, but the breakdown. In other words, where, for instance, you've mentioned a couple of times now that we are only responsible as a school board anywhere from 11 to 15% of our budget that we could adjust. That's an incorrect statement because we, as school board directors, are responsible for the entire budget. The previous school board closed 2 schools. So when you make a statement that we're only responsible, again, to adjust the budget of anywhere from 11 to 15%, that is incorrect. We're responsible for...
Can I clarify that?
Yes, please.
Obviously, you're responsible for 100% of the decisions that make that budget work. I think to clarify that, what we were saying is discretionary spending is about probably 5 to 10%. In other words, most of our costs are fixed and we have to pay those bills. You approve those bills as a board, that is correct. But I think what he was trying to say, the point we're trying to prove is about 5% of our $90-some million budget is discretionary.
It's a good clarification.
Right.
Is it possible, and again, Mr. No, I was going to say, Mr. President, is it possible to get a listing of the staffing and the salaries and any additional salary, whether it's a bonus, like coaches? The previous board approved, what, $9,000 or $10,000 for a coach.
A lot of that is in the contract, but if you would like to get additional information, again, please give me a note.
Okay.
And we'll see where it goes.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
John, can I ask you a couple questions that were posed to me
Sure.
regarding this budget?
Sure.
Okay. Number one, I was asked, is VOTEC mandatory? I didn't know the answer to that.
I think
We have to participate in VOTEC.
I think the answer to that is yes. I would need Mr. Senate to verify that, but I believe you have to offer that opportunity for everybody.
And we were one of the
Okay.
founding
Yes.
charters, one of the founding districts also.
Yeah, we tried.
Yeah.
Okay. Second was, the question was posed to me, how much of the budget is sports and club related?
1.6 million.
1.6 million. Okay. And then if we went above the index on a tax increase, how much roughly per 100,000 would that be?
$20.
20's above the index?
Yeah, above the index. For what we were approved for, is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
I guess clarify that. For what we were approved for.
Donna, do you want the total amount per $100,000 home if we went above the index? Or do you
Yeah,
just?
That's the main index plus,
Right.
okay.
So the total amount, I believe it was.
for some reason.
It's
I
roughly
had-
$60.
Was it 40,
Yeah, I believe that's.
42 the index, and then 20 more?
Did you hear that, Tom?
$60 in the ballpark, Donna?
Let's try to get,
$60 per $100,000 home if we went above the index. That's ballpark.
okay. So a $200,000 house would be $120 a year.
Correct.
Correct.
Okay. Now, if we did not go above the index, how much does that change that figure per 100,000, do you know?
$20.
All right, so it would be 20 versus 60 per
No,
100.
no. It would be 40 versus 60. The difference is $20.
40's the base,
Alright.
20's the exception. Total
Okay,
60.
all right. I want to be very clear when I recite these numbers back. So thank you for that information. I really appreciate it.
Please, please let them know that's ballpark. We'll get the exact numbers.
Yeah,
We'll have it-
absolutely. I
yeah.
mean, I would never hold you to
Okay.
a cent figure.
Others might.
Although Karen usually has those figures, so, but I appreciate that information.
I don't think that's ever happened. Thanks, Tom.
Yep.
Aaron, can we get a breakdown on that, on her question? You said $1.6 million for the activities. Do you have a breakdown of per club, or how do you get to that 1.6?
That I do. Actually, I don't have that in here. So this is analysis that I did. I figured I'd just present this to allow you to kind of take a look. And for me, this is more or less about revenue. And this gives you where you can kind of see where you've been trending. But to answer your question, do you want that right now, or do you want that?
If you can send, no, I'll do that. If you can email us or copy, whatever you have. I just want to kind of see where the majority is coming from, if there's any.
So, in there, Aaron, I guess just to give the people in the audience an idea, we're talking about stipends for coaches, we're talking about the money for
Travel
to
registration
enter
fees.
contests, and
Correct.
that's our competitive academic area too.
Yeah, as
So
well
our
as the
robotics,
athletics.
speech and debate,
Math
all of
counts.
those extracurriculars.
Do we have any figures as to what those individual programs, boosters contribute themselves?
The boosters that contribute
Yeah,
back.
say the football team, their booster club, maybe they get,
We could-
$200,000 for football, for argument's sake. What are they raising, to fill in the gaps that they need to compete, travel?
I could look off the Title IX report that we have to file, and I can give you an estimate based on
That's fine.
last year
Mhm.
for what they are contributing. I will say, we spend the least in Erie County, or one of the least, as far as our extracurriculars are concerned, when you look at that on a per student basis.
Yeah, I think I would add to that those, I don't want to say all the sports programs, but we do have some programs that are self-sufficient that do not rely at all on district funds. I believe the hockey team is one, lacrosse. And we have asked those sports programs in the past 3 years, as we've been cutting, we've been pulling that money out of the budget. And those booster clubs have been coming in and picking up quite a bit of that. So there is active booster fundraising and memberships. I wouldn't say it's across the board, but they're pretty active, and they've responded and helped quite a bit.
As well as the
I'll
M&Ms.
verify the hockey, because I had 2 kids in McDowell hockey, and we were totally self-funding. And I believe that the last year we were in it, the cost was $2,200.